goes Schumacher!
We've had a fuel splash. Oh my goodness me!
Pass for the championship. Out goes Michael Schumacher!
Black flag for that, black flag!
These are the most controversial moments of Michael Schumacher. In 1994, Schumacher won his first title with Benetton. It was also a season with a lot of cheating allegations, including illegal electronic aids, refueling tricks, and illegal ride heights. Benetton did everything to exploit the grey areas of the rulebook. Traction control was banned in Formula 1 to reduce costs and put more emphasis back on driver skills. The sudden removal created controversy and suspicion around teams being compliant with the new rules. Benetton was one of these teams, especially at the San Marino Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher's car showed characteristics similar to a car with traction control. It was Ayrton Senna earlier that season who observed his opponent and suggested Benetton still use the software. However, the FIA never found anything related to traction control. They were never fined or disqualified for the use of such a system. They did find a hidden piece of software in the engine management system called Option 13. This code could enable a form of traction control. Benetton claimed it was not active and was leftover code from the previous seasons. The FIA never found clear evidence, but the presence of such a code was enough to fuel accusations of cheating. At the 1994 German Grand Prix, it was Schumacher's teammate Jos Verstappen's car that caught fire. While refueling the car, they spilled a massive amount of fuel. The car, pit crew, and Verstappen himself caught fire. Luckily, no one was harmed. The FIA investigated the accident and refueling rig of Benetton. They removed a fuel filter, which allowed them to fuel the cars 12% faster. Benetton claimed they only did this because their manufacturer allowed them. There was no clear evidence of this. The team got fined but was not disqualified from the championship. This shows once again they were willing to bend or break rules to gain a competitive advantage. At the Belgian Grand Prix, Schumacher was disqualified after winning the race. His car had excessive wear on the skid block, which could have been due to an illegally low ride height. Benetton argued it was because of a spin over a curb during the race. Unfortunately for them, this had no effect. But if you thought that was everything for the 1994 season, then you're completely wrong. Anyone remember the Schumacher and Damon Hill collision in Australia? With the possibility of winning his first championship, a crash, and Schumacher driving into Damon Hill, it was a controversial title-deciding race. With a 1-point championship lead over Hill, it was this race that decided who became the 1994 world champion. Schumacher qualified second, but quickly took the lead and was ahead of Damon Hill. On lap 36, everything went wrong for him. Schumacher made a mistake, hit the wall, and damaged his suspension. He realized his championship was at risk. With an approaching Hill, he decided to rejoin the track. Schumacher came back onto the racing line, and Damon Hill moved on the inside to pass the Benetton. At this crucial moment, Schumacher turned sharply into Hill's path. They collided, and Schumacher launched into the air and the barriers. His race was over. He tried to continue and he went for a pit stop. However, his car's suspension was too damaged to continue. He was forced to retire. With both drivers out of the race, it was Schumacher who claimed the world title. Commentators, teams, and even fans accused Schumacher of deliberately causing the collision to secure the championship. His actions were highly questionable. The FIA investigated the incident but did not find conclusive evidence to penalize Schumacher. Schumacher was crowned the 1994 world champion, but there was a large shadow over it. The fact that Schumacher was this close to Damon Hill is quite remarkable. Earlier that season at the British Grand Prix, he ignored serving a 5-second stop-and-go penalty, got disqualified from the race result, and received a 2-race ban. Yes, this actually happened. Schumacher overtook Damon Hill twice during the first formation lap. At the race start, David Coulthard stalled on the grip, resulting in another formation lap. Again, on the second formation lap, Schumacher overtook Hill twice. On lap 14, it was Michael Schumacher who received a 5-second stop-and-go penalty. He failed to serve the penalty by lap 21. He was shown the black flag, meaning he had to stop immediately at the pits. Once again, Schumacher did not acknowledge the decision of the race directors and ignored them for 2 more laps. He claimed he'd not seen it. Benetton suggested there was a misunderstanding over the stop-and-go penalty. The officials withdrew the black flag and Schumacher did serve his original penalty by lap 27. The stewards fined Benetton $25,000 and gave the team and Schumacher a severe reprimand for ignoring the race directors. Almost 3 weeks later, the FIA World Motorsport Council increased the fine to $500,000. They handed Michael Schumacher a 2-race ban and a disqualification from the British Grand Prix. Quite a controversial season, isn't it? Schumacher and title-deciding races, a story of its own. The 1997 European Grand Prix at Jerez is one many Formula One fans remember. In the 1997 season, it was Schumacher versus Jacques Villeneuve. Again, it was the German with a 1-point lead. Schumacher led the race for over 40 laps. After the second round of pit stops, it was still Schumacher leading, but with Villeneuve really close. On lap 48, Villeneuve was less than a second behind Schumacher. While trying to overtake the German at the sharp right-hand corner, everything went wrong, with Villeneuve braking later, moving to the inside lane, and being ahead, it was Schumacher who turned into him. Schumacher's front wheel hit the left side pod of Villeneuve. In 1994, this move caused Schumacher and Hill to both retire. This time, it was only the German who retired. The reporters immediately observed that the move was deliberate. With Villeneuve finishing third, he became the world champion of the 1997 season. Schumacher was disqualified from that year's Drivers' Championship by the FIA. His tactics were widely criticized by the media. Michael Schumacher is known for his hard defending, cutting across the track, blocking and even forcing another driver off the track. That's exactly what happened during the Canadian Grand Prix of 1998. While Schumacher and Heinz-Harald Frentzen were not really competitors in the 1998 season, Schumacher wouldn't let him pass easily. Schumacher made his pit stop as race leader. He rejoined the track in front of Frentzen, who went for an overtake. It was Schumacher who steered across the track to block and move further into Frentzen. He steered off the track, onto the grass, and spun into the gravel. While Frentzen was upset, Schumacher once again got a stop-and-go penalty. But due to retirements and his subline driving, he still finished in first. In 2002, it was not dirty driving from Schumacher, it was team orders that were really controversial. Schumacher's teammate Rubens Barrichello led the race. Ferrari decided to manipulate the result. It was a season of domination. Schumacher led the Drivers' Championship comfortably, while Ferrari was leading the Constructors' Championship. With a clear 1-2 finish in sight for the Austrian Grand Prix, nothing could go wrong. With Barrichello being the better driver that weekend, it was the Brazilian who was leading. This could be his first victory of the season, with a second all-time victory of his career. With a few laps remaining, Ferrari issued urgent team orders to let Schumacher by.
Pass for the championship. Let Michael pass for the championship.
They wanted to maximize his point lead, but Barrichello seemed to resist the order. On the final lap, meters from the finish line, he slowed down to let Schumacher overtake him. On the podium ceremony, both drivers looked upset. Schumacher even put his teammate on the top step. This later resulted in a $1 million fine for Ferrari. The whole crowd booed during the podium ceremony. There was a lot of media backlash, and the FIA banned team orders for the following season. But guess what? 1 year later, at the same Grand Prix, Barrichello let Schumacher pass him again, instructed by Ferrari. A race weekend not remembered for the race itself, but for the actions of Michael Schumacher. With a provisional pole, Fernando Alonso being faster, and a weird crash at Rascasse, this is a moment that I will always remember. Schumacher knew Alonso was 2/10 faster than his own time, and Monaco is all about qualification. While approaching Rascasse, Schumacher slid into the barriers. He said he locked up, and the front wheel went wide. The track was blocked, and Alonso's lap was compromised. Everyone in the paddock said it was a deliberate act, and Schumacher was sent to the race stewards. They disqualified him, and he needed to start last for the Monaco Grand Prix of 2006. 2010 was marked as the comeback of Schumacher. After a 3-year retirement, he came back to help build the German team. While he struggled visibly with the new cars, the German did not change at all. Being on older tyres nearing the end of the race, Schumacher was struggling. Barrichello was approaching quickly on fresh tyres, and after a better exit of the final corner, he went for an overtake. Schumacher noticed the move and aggressively moved to the right to defend his position. He squeezed his former teammate between his own car and the pit wall. Barrichello could not back out, and at 290 km per hour, he almost touched the wall. The Brazilian driver did complete the overtake and shouted on the radio, This is the most dangerous thing that he's ever done. The move resulted in a 10-place grid penalty for the next Grand Prix for Schumacher. He was irresponsible, unsupportive, and dangerous. In that same season, it was Schumacher again trying to bend the rules in his favour. With a safety car, last lap overtake, and his former rival, Alonso, involved, it was again controversy that was attached to the German legend. Toward the end of the race, the safety car was deployed. An incident involving Jarno Trulli and Karen Chandok was the cause of this. The race continued under the safety car until the final lap, meaning that overtaking was not allowed. The safety car came into the pits on the final lap, and green flags were waved, indicating that the track was clear. This normally means normal race conditions are resumed. Schumacher made a quick move on the inside of Alonso at Rascasse corner, overtaking him just before the finish line and moving into 6th place. The overtake was protested by Ferrari because the race was still under safety car conditions until they passed the start or finish, meaning the overtake was not allowed. The stewards reviewed the incident and ruled in Ferrari's favour. Schumacher was handed a 20-second time penalty, dropping him from 6th to 12th place. Now you know a lot about Schumacher's controversial Formula 1 history. It's time for you to learn more about everything that's wrong with Formula 1. Click the video on the screen right now. You can also watch the other videos on screen if you like this one. You will definitely like those other videos too.